Hello, Intro to Accounting. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of just going through the book in 2-2, we are going to do a little visual activity where we're going to create something in this program called Canva where it's going to visually show us what's happening in these transactions. So if you're saying, okay, I just took the test, I kind of don't want to do any more accounting right now, and I want to try something different, today is the day for you. So you are still going to be looking in 2-2. So I want you to look through the book. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to look at the 5 different transactions that are taking place in this chapter. And yesterday we talked about debits and credits, and we looked at the account's normal balance. Well, now what we're doing is we're just taking what we learned in chapter 1 and we're applying it to what we learned yesterday. So we have a couple different transactions. The first one is received cash from an owner as an investment. And there's 4 different questions that we'd ask ourselves for each transaction. The first one, which accounts are going to be affected? Well, here we received cash from an owner as an investment. So we know that cash is affected and Michael Delgado's capital would also be affected. Next, how is each account classified? Well, I know that cash is an asset, and I know that Michael Delgado is an owner's equity on the right-hand side or the credit side of the accounting equation. How is each classification changed? Well, here, how are they changed? Assets are going to increase because we received cash, and then Michael Delgado's capital is also going to increase. And the last question that we have is, how is each amount entered into the accounts? So what that really means is it debited or is it credited for each account? Well, assets increase on the debit side because they're on the left-hand side of the accounting equation. So we're going to debit that account. And Michael Delgado's is capital, right? So it's on the right-hand side of the accounting equation. So it's going to increase on the credit side. Okay, those are the 4 questions that you're going to ask yourselves. And we have received cash. We have received cash from an owner as an investment. We have paid cash for supplies. So here we know that supplies are going to increase and cash is going to decrease. Supplies is an asset. It's on the left-hand side of the accounting equation, and it would increase. So how do we increase supplies? We debit it because the debit account, the debit is the normal balance for supplies. Cash we know is going to decrease because we paid cash, and we need to decrease the cash account, so we're going to have to credit that account because it's the opposite of the normal balance side. Next, we have paid cash for insurance. It's really the same thing. It's just swapping out one asset for another asset. Remember that insurance is prepaid insurance, and it is an asset. Skip that. We have bought supplies on account. So once again, we know that supplies are going to increase. We need to debit supplies. What about accounts payable? What kind of account is that? Well, it's a liability. How do we increase a liability? Because we're going to owe more money. Well, we're going to credit it. And we credit it because it's on the right-hand side of the accounting equation. And then paid cash on account. What are we going to do here? Well, now cash is going to go down. We increase cash on the debit side, right? So to decrease cash, we must credit it. And then the other one is accounts payable. And accounts payable must go down as well here. So we increase a liability on the right-hand side. So to decrease it, we must debit it on the left-hand side. And I think there's one. Oh, no, that's it. Okay. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 transactions. And that's what we're going to look at today. So I'm going to flip on over here to Canva. And this is a fun little tool. You can use it for other things as well as this class. After you entered in, or after you joined our classroom today in the HyperDoc, you actually have access to this now for as long as I have it, which I think is a pretty good long time. And when you sign in, it's going to bring you when you join Canva, it's going to bring you right to a screen that kind of looks like this, okay? And this is a place, it's kind of like Google Docs or PowerPoint, except it gives you a lot more functionality. You can add videos, you can add pictures, you can add different animations, usually with just a click. So it's got more tools and maybe a little bit easier to use as well. But what we're going to do is we are going to create 5 different documents in here that's going to demonstrate the transactions that we just looked at. So when you're on this front screen, there's a couple different things. There's templates up here, which starts you off with some kind of some other kind of design that you can kind of change. They're also by different dimensions. So this is what I would recommend. I would either go with presentation, because that's going to be that long landscape, just like if you were doing a PowerPoint presentation. So it gives you a lot of room to work. Or if not, maybe I do Instagram post. And the only reason that I do an Instagram post is because it's a perfect square. It gives you a good amount of space as well. I'm going to go into presentation because that's where I kind of want to create, or that's what I want to create. And from here, you could pick a template, or you can create it from a blank presentation. I've already started mine from a blank presentation, so I just want to show you what that looks like a little bit. So here is my blank presentation that I started with here, and I created received cash from an owner as an investment. So this was a blank slide, and I can really easily add in all of these elements, and I'll create another one with you to show you what that looks like. So here it says received cash from an owner as an investment. And remember, this is something that's going to help you remember this transaction. If we look over here at received cash from an owner investments, what we really want to know is what are the accounts that are affected, and then what's going to happen to those accounts. Are they increasing? Are they decreasing? And on what side? So you can see very clearly, at least I can see very clearly, that's kind of the kicker, right? Is that I received cash from an owner as an investment. I labeled the transaction. And then here's my owner in my mind, and she's giving money to the company. So then what's happening? Well, cash for the company is increasing. How does that increase? Well, it increases on the debit side, the left side. So here cash is increasing on the left side. I have my little T account here. On the right side, this is Michelle, just named her, and Michelle's capital is going to go up on the right side, the credit side, because her capital in the company is increasing. So let's go through another, and I'll show you how to add different elements or pictures to this. So I'm going to hit add page, and remember you're going to need 5, so you'll probably need to do that. And now I pretty much have a blank background. Maybe I don't even want that color there. And what I would do is I would start and say, okay, what's the transaction that I'm going to look at here? Well, if I go to this, it says paid cash for supplies. So I know here that supplies is going to be debited because it's going up, and cash is going to go down, okay? So elements is going to be any kind of animated thing at all, okay? And then photos, I just searched rich, and it brought up a bunch of people with money, okay? And I was saying you can be as creative as you want. So maybe to show that money disappeared, I just copy and pasted this person, I could just, it can be as silly as you want, okay? Let's just, I don't know, we can go like this, right? And maybe show that all the money disappeared. It doesn't matter, okay? But I want you to be able to look at your transactions. Maybe you want to do a little bit more professional looking up top, or maybe you want to do something goofy. It's totally up to you. I would probably start though by going into the text, and you can pick any kind of text that you want here. I'm going to pick my normal heading, and I'm going to write out the transaction. So I can insert this and just start typing. So the transaction that I had is paid cash for supplies. And maybe you need to have something in your head. Just start thinking, what do I want to demonstrate this? So I'm going to go into elements, and I'm just going to go business owner. So maybe this is I don't really like that person as my business owner. Well, you know what? Sure. Let's go ahead and do it. So this can be my business owner. Looks like he's got a phone in his pocket or in his hand, but let's just go into cash. Maybe I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in his hand. Okay. So I can just I can hit this item. Maybe I want to flip it. Okay. I want to flip it vertically so it looks better. So you have that availability. I can just drag these little things down and make the picture smaller. And there we go. So he's coming with cash. And maybe I feel like we always use the pen example in class. Like I bought supplies and I always talk about pens. So I'm going to buy some pens because of course I'm going to buy some pens. So here's a couple pens. And I'm going to just make a pile of these pens. Right, let's use these two. And, maybe I want to take all of them together and I'm going to copy and paste them, okay? And now I can quickly make a giant pile of pens if I want. All right, this is just something silly and goofy, right? You can do whatever you want. That's going to demonstrate. Okay. So there we go. He's going to buy a bunch of pens. Kind of goofy, kind of silly, right? So let's go back into elements, and I think I put business owner. So now let's say he's going to walk away again. And I'm going to turn him here. So I'm going to flip, vertical, and see he's still walking away. And maybe I'm just going to take, instead of that money that was there, now he's going to be carrying, a pen. Let's flip it. And of course, it's a ginormous pen because it's just proving our points. Okay, so that could be, I guess these could be black and it'd make more sense, right? So here we paid cash. We paid cash for supplies. So when I look at this, I go, okay, it looks like this guy is starting out with cash. He's my business owner, and it's our business, and he's going to pay cash for supplies. Maybe this doesn't speak to you the same way that it does for me, but for me, I'm like, yeah, that works. That sounds good. And maybe I want to go into elements and I want to look up T, okay? Because I want to use my T account. So I'm going to use this one right here because I kind of liked it before. And you don't have to use the same things every time, right? A matter of fact, I'm not. I did like that last one, but let's use something different. So we'll just use a normal standard T. And for this, I'm going to hit Control C and Control V because I want two of them. And you can see that I can line it up with it's really easy to line it up straight. As I say that, and it's not straight. There we go. Let's just line it up on the top of this. Pretty close. There we go. And now I want to know, what are the two accounts that are going to be affected? Well, I know that cash is going to be affected, so maybe I'll go back into text and I'll add a subheading here, and I'm going to put cash. Okay, that's really small. So I probably want to make it bigger. And then if I want it the same size, I can just hit Control C and Control V to copy and paste again. And maybe over here, I'm going to put supplies. I don't really like that. So like you can change what this looks like a little bit. Let's go into effects. Let's change it to this kind of background where I can see it a little bit better. So let's go shadow, and you can mess around with this all that you want. But now I need to make sure that I show how each of these are affected. So I'm just gonna put plus sign, and for this transaction, if we look at it, what's being affected? Well, supplies is gonna be debited, cash is gonna be credited. So here, what I'm gonna put in is I'm gonna say cash. All right, let's use a different kind. Say cash over here. It's going to be credited, and that's going to show that it's a decrease. And then supplies is going to be debited. Okay, cash is credited, supplies is debited. And maybe, maybe I don't even, maybe this doesn't do enough for me. So I'm gonna look up arrow because it still doesn't make 100% sense to me. So let's look up arrow, and I can take this arrow here. Looks like it might be white. I can change the color of anything I want. So now I'm gonna make this arrow. Let's make it green. And why don't I change the way it's pointed here? And maybe I'm not at the point where I just understand, hey, if cash is getting credited, it's decreasing. So maybe I want to actually put an arrow here to help me remember. Okay, so that's perfectly fine. And maybe I want this arrow to come out at the bottom, and I can always right-click this and send backward, and now it's coming out of that little section there. Okay. Maybe I want to copy this, and I want to bring this other one over to supplies. And what's happening with supplies is going up. So maybe I want to use this little arrow, and I will adjust it going upward. And this will now show me, I'll send it backwards. This will now show me that supplies is going up. So this way right here, I can walk away from this and I can go, okay, yep, I know what's going on here. I can look at this little graph, and maybe somebody else could also look at it and get some use out of it. So if I go into background, I can pick different backgrounds. You can pick solid ones, whatever you want, okay? I don't know. Let's pick this aqua blue. Sure, for now, that's fine. And you can always change the colors here into other things too. So maybe I just want gray for this one. So there we go. That's paid cash for supplies. And now I have 2 of my transactions done. I can look at this and somebody can have a visual representation. You can have a visual representation of what these transactions look like. So I'd like you to do 5 of them today. And that's what you're going to look at. If you don't get them all done, just be working on it the whole day. That's what our goal is, to get all 5 done. When you are complete with, actually, let me show you one more thing real quick. You can also animate any of this stuff, okay? So you see up here, let me just go up to the top. Okay, there's this little animate tool. So if you want, you can look at different ways that you can animate it, and it's just with a click, right? Real easy. So maybe Tumble looks the best here. I don't like Tumble because she's obviously flying through the air. What about Pan? Yeah, Pan seems to work. What does Pan look like over here? Yeah, it's all right. You can change different ones to different pages. So maybe here I want Pan. Maybe here I want block. And there's going to be a couple different ways that you can hand this in. Okay, if you go up to the very top, you can download it as a PDF standard, and then what it's going to do is it'll give me a document. It'll say preparing your design, and it's going to download to your computer. Usually, oh, it's going slow. What's going on here? You know, the video's too long when the coffee's cold. All right. So if we pull this up, you can see now it's created a PDF for me, and I can hand this in into Google Classroom. So how would I hand that into Google Classroom? Remember that you can always add a file, and you would just drag this file over. There's another way though. You can go into the right-hand side, and you can go share by website. So if you click share by website, what's going to happen is I would pick presentation style, but then you hit open website. It'll open a new page for you, and there is now, let me drag this down, an entire website that just created online through Canva. And if you just copy this, you could insert that link into your Google Classroom as well. So you would add that or into the assignment, and then I would be able to click through your presentation. Okay. So those are the two ways that you could hand this in when you are all done, through the website or through downloading it as a PDF. To add another page, you just click the add another page icon on the bottom. And remember, you're doing all 5 transactions. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I hope you guys enjoy this tool. It's a little bit of a different way to look at some of these accounts, and Canva can also be used for a lot of different things in the future. If you want to get more complex in here, you can obviously add videos as your background or whatever else. You can also go into elements, and you can change things to animated. So just kind of an advanced little bit of a tool here, you know. So maybe you're just showing, hey, my business owner here went from this to this. Okay, that's perfectly fine too. And if you do hand this in this way, I would prefer the website then, because the PDF is just going to it's not going to make it move. Okay, so if you take the time to put in animations, make sure that you hand it in with the website, because it'll just be more fun. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much, and I will talk to you soon.